Welcome to my vlog on security engineering, where I talk about big data and cybersecurity. My name is Lim. I'm a computer scientist, an educator, and a software engineer. In this inaugural episode, I will be talking about performing IoC matching using SQL on the Databricks lakehouse platform. IoC matching is a very fundamental operation that security analysts would actually do in multiple scenarios. They might be doing it for detection engineering. They might be doing it for alert triage. They might be doing it for threat hunting or even investigations. So let's jump right in. You're seeing a notebook here that I put together just to explain how to do this in SQL. We'll be using HTTP data that's extracted from PCAPs using Zeek. It'll be stored in the HTTP table. The malicious IOCs, which will be possibly from your own SOC or from threat intel subscriptions, those will be consolidated and stored in an IOC table. And I'll show you the schema in a little bit. I'm going to assume that we know the schema of the data that we want to match against. So you'll see that in the queries below. We will write the queries. So the HTTP table looks like this, and it's pretty straightforward. This is a fairly just no transformation, just pretty much straightforward, straight from the Zeek schemas. And you see that there is there's IP addresses in the ID alrig underscore h column and the ID resp underscore h. And those IP addresses also in your possibly the referrer columns as well. The IOC table looks like this, and it's fairly straightforward as well. Is just 4 columns here, very simplified. IOC type, IOC value, create a timestamp, and whether the IOC is active or not. So let's look at the simplest case, right? We want to do, hey, I'm investigating something, and I want to match the IOCs in this IOC table against the HTTP entries in the HTTP table. And that's really easy in SQL. You would actually just join the HTTP table against the IOC table. And in this case, in this simplest case, I just want to match on a single column, which is the source IP address, right? So I'll use ID or H and join it against IOC value from the IOC table. Make sure I only want the active entries, and this is the result they'll get. So there's actually two matches in this case. What if I want to match against more than one column in the HTTP table, right? Well, you're going to use the concat function to create a list of observables from multiple columns. I'm just going to use the term observables to refer to the IP addresses or FQDNs or hashes that you extract from data. They are not necessarily malicious, so they're just observations or observables. So this is the query that you would use using the concat and converting the values in the column to an array, concatenating them, and you get back an array of observables for each row in the source data. What about columns that have IOCs as substrings or observables as substrings, for example, right? So we can use regular expression. In this case, I'm going to use regex extract all, and this is a built-in function that will extract based on the column the regular expression given by as a parameter to that function, right? Here I'm just using a very simple regular expression without any extra checks on the IP addresses, just four digits, 4 numbers separated by 3 dots. And you can see, you can run this query, and this is I'm just extracting from the referrer column, and these are the results that you'll see. Now, if we put those 2 queries together, we can now concat all the extracted observables into an array. In this case, I'm just doing the source IP address, destination IP address, and the IP address that we extract from the referrer column. And this is what you get. Of course, you can include additional ones. You could also include FQDNs, hashes into this extraction as well. And it's up to you whether you want to use separate observable lists for them or just want them in a single observable list. Both will work just fine here. Now let's put things together, right? Now, instead of a single value, we have an array of observables for each row of the source data. So the most straightforward way to do this IoC matching is, hey, let's just cut and paste this query as a subquery of our original IoC matching query, the simplest case, right? And then we use the array contains built-in function that would check if the IoC value is contained in this observable list. And that's all we need, actually, to modify the query to work for the array of observables. And you see that you kind of get back the same results here as previously. However, this using array contains is probably not the best way to do this in terms of performance. Oftentimes, joins that uses a built-in function or a UDF in its predicate is often much more expensive. It's much better if it's an equi-join. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to use the explode function that will actually let you convert the list of observables into just individual fields. And that's what explode does. And this is what the result would look like. You will get, if I scroll all the way here, you get two separate entries for each of the two value IP addresses in the extracted ops list, for example. This one you have 3, for example. Now, while we're at this, if we want to change the schema of this format, in this case, if I just want the timestamp and I want to extract all the data as a JSON and just forget about the fields, I can do that. And then just executing, and this is what you'll get instead. And so we're going to go with this this output schema because it's just a little bit easier to deal with. Now we can cut and paste this, put it as a subquery into the original version, and do the inner join using an equi-join instead of the array contains, and voila. So this is the final form of the IoC matching query, and I've actually included just a now timestamp as the detection timestamp, and this is what we're going to get with this query. So this is how you would do IoC matching using SQL on the Databricks platform. It's pretty straightforward. I walked you through how I've kind of built up this query bit by bit. And hopefully this was helpful to you. In the next episode, I'll be showing you how to automate this process so that this query gets, this IoC matching query gets executed on ingest of all the data. All right, see you next time.